Okay. So in the last class, we have discussed about the launcher. In the launcher, actually, if you open the launcher, you will see in the related tab. Open that. So this is the interaction launcher we have created, right? So in the interaction launcher, if you go to the related tab, you will see a option for velocity actions, right? So there we actually need to configure the velocity action, which is nothing but a button, right? Remember, we have created a velocity actions for displaying the account details section, right? So the same thing we need to do, and here we need to actually configure which class or which method we want to execute and what exact functionality we want to display when someone click on the click button, right? Here you can also configure any URL, which is your OmniScript URL, right? So those configuration you can directly do through here, right? So the nature why when we clicking on the verify button, the pop-up that is opening the tab which is opening to the next screen, it is because of the velocity actions, right? Here you can go and update the name of that particular class also, right? Okay, so today I have already shared you the access of this new org. Okay, so whatever we will do, we will concentrate on this org on the further exercises. Today's topic is the cards. But before that, let's quickly check whatever we have learned and what are the options in entire velocity in terms of displaying the UI. See, velocity generally provide two options. One is OS, OmniScripts, and second is the cards. Okay, in OS, when we use OS, basically when we have a form kind of functionality where you need to display some fields, right? And then there will be a next button. User need to click on next button and you need to display another fields. Okay, and then at the end of the flow, you have a save or some button which actually do a commit on the databases, right? Something similar you can also configure using OmniScripts. But if I want to tell you, if the requirement is we need to, let's say, create a screen which is having like this structure where there will be a header. Okay, there will be a body and there will be a footer. In that case, how we will configure is not something we can do with help of OmniScripts, right? OmniScript is something which is a form. So in that purpose, we use cards. Okay, so if I summarize it, card are something which is more a card are something which provide us a more option in terms of UI, and they also used to display more information in less space. That means you can add any button at here, right? You can, since it's a header, you can now add any link or something which user need to click and jump to another page. You can also add an image here where you can display a basic information about the user, or you can also create a different layout like this, where this is a section, this is a main body, and this is another section, right? So I have an image that I want to display. So let's say this is the image. So whatever you are seeing here up to this line basically, uh, yeah, at this line, whatever you're seeing, this is one card. Okay, and this section, this is a one card. This is another card. This is another card, and this is another card. And what they did is actually, yeah, this is this entire section can be handled through one card, and this is again a different cards. But the initial thing that you need to make sure is this particular thing. This is one layout, this is layout, and this is the main area. So you what basically you can see there are basically three areas: the left side, the middle side, and the right side. Okay, similar ways, if you need to have the same requirement where you need to define that many fields, that many buttons, that many links, in that case velocity asks you to create a card for it. Okay, so if I summarize it, velocity cards are used to display more fields, right? More fields, more information in a less space. Okay, to start with the cards, we need to first create the layout. And what is the layout? Basically layout are something which just a second. Yeah, we need to first create a layout. Layout means how your basic area will look like. Let's say this is the page, this is your page, right? Your design team will give you this this design, like what information they need to see in which area. So let's say if this is the requirement where we need to create a header. Okay, in header we need to display current record name, maybe account name, and there will be couple of buttons, edit, update, or anything, right? There are a couple of buttons, and in this area we want to add the information. Let's say this area at the most left part, we want to display the contacts related to the account. Okay, and we want to display a list of contacts which having some detailed information, not a list, I mean one card for contacts also, right? So this area I want to again engage for displaying all the contact related information. And this main area I want to actually display the account informations, and I don't want to display two column layout. I just want to create a cards. Let's say this card is used to display the fee, the shipping address, I mean all the address related information. Okay, this card will display and show the account related information, whether the account is active, who are the responsible for the account, phone number, email, all those things, right? Basic details. And maybe other fields, we have some custom fields we want to display. So in short, we want to make this UI very rich so that just by viewing one screen, I will able to understand multiple things. Okay, so this is how we need to display. So first thing that UIs can understand is first we need to create this layout. Okay, how the layout will look like, and then we need to add the cards. Okay, so now let's quickly jump to Salesforce and see how we can do that. We need to search for cards. Okay, velocity card. And then click on new. Okay, in this screen, we need to configure the name, the type. There are two types of cards. One is the layout, second is the flyout. Flyout we will discuss tomorrow. Let's first, today we will discuss about layouts, right? And then there is a author name and there's a template. Let's discuss about those things. See, the naming of cards is a little different than the OmniScripts. Here we use all small letters. Let's say count. This is the name I want to give. And then I use this dash info. Okay. Then I need to write the author name. The combination of layout and author will be the identity of that particular card. Okay, so that means if and also these two things we cannot change after save. Okay, so make sure if you have account info and the author name is ABC, then you can create another card with same account info. At that time you can't add ABC as a author. So the, like I said, combination of these two things make the identity. So why they give this way? Because in most of the time we define a name here, and here we will define the team name. Let's say your team name is uh, account handle, let's say. Okay, so then you need to write the name account handle, and whatever you want to add, you need to add the name here. Okay, so when this goes to production and you need to, let's say, debug your changes, you just need to focus on the authors, where you can directly define your team names in the author section. Okay, next is the template. So this is what I was saying. Template is responsible how you want to look your card, right? You want to divide it into this way, or the horizontal way, or the vertical way. Okay, so those things we need to take care from the templates. Templates are, let me actually show you, but we have a class where we actually discuss about the coding, right? In that class, we will more closely look how we need to create the templates. But here, let me add one template, which is card canvas TX zone SLDS, this one. Okay, this template comes default, comes with the package only, right? So whenever you have any custom requirement where you need to display any UI or anything, at that time make sure you you can leverage those templates which is already there into the system. Okay, I have already shared you a link in LMS where you can directly go and check and read about all those predefined templates. Okay, anyways, we will also check this in further classes. We actually save it at the moment. So before you actually save your card, you need to make sure you have a template. So now let's check the template before we discuss anything else. So your template is not something who will show anything in the back. I mean, template is not something who will handle the data. Okay, it is just a UI. It will handle how your actual UI gonna look like. Okay, so this is what your template does. That's why you will see there is a HTML. Okay, this all HTML is actually useful in terms of creating the actual cart layout, like how your layout will look like. Same goes for CSS, and there's a JS also. Okay, and you can actually edit. So there are these three options. One is the template, second is the CSS, and then JS. You can actually define all those things whenever you need to work on it, right? This is Angular support here. Whatever you can do with Angular, you can do here. We will having one class where I will tell you how the information get passed into those templates and where you need not to use those templates, right? Because now there is support of LWC2, right? So yeah. Now let's first check this part, the most left part, and then we'll talk about these two. First thing that you're seeing is the name and author. They are grayed out. Like I said, when you actually define the name and author, you can't change those things. And the combination of these two will be your identity. Now this is the type of that velocity cards. You have layouts and the flyouts, right? We need to click on layouts today. Next is the permission. See, if I go back to this screen, you will see there are so many informations, right? Maybe the user that is trying to access, they don't have contact information. In at that case, you need to define the permission here. Okay, it's not permission set, it's just permissions. Okay, I actually don't do changes directly related to permission. I don't do related all those permission changes. I never did in the layout part. I go and assign those permission to the users. Why I did that? Because here you need to define permission. It's not permission sets, right? So maybe in future you have so many things that you are actually doing at this level. So it's better to go with the user record and do it. But uh, the drawback of doing it on user record is they will able to access outside this card also, right? But if you define it here, then they are restricted to use it only this particular area, right? So it depends on the requirement. Next is the template, like I was saying, this is the template. Similar as OS, we also have versioning system here, right? We can create multiple versions and we can also clone it and activate a particular version, right? This is for activation, this is for LWC support. Now let's talk about the session variable. This session variable, let's say I have created a card, okay, and I want to display this particular name at the center. Okay, in that case, what I'll do is I'll create a session variable, okay, and pass that session variable to my template. And then I can do this styling, because how your template know which part they need to show center, which part they need to show left, right? So that thing we need to take care through session variables. Okay. We can just define the variable name and the value which we want to give, and then we can directly access the name into the templates. Okay. Next thing is your meta tags. Meta tags are basically used for SEO purpose. Here you can write what is the author name. Let me actually show you. Yeah, this is how your meta text looks like, because in most of the cases Salesforce doesn't focus on meta. Why? Because it is a close I mean, they are not public URLs, right? But just in case if you want to configure any card for your communities, and those communities are public, in that case you need to go and do the meta tagging. Those meta tagging are useful for doing the SEO. Google search engine will pick those meta tags, and based on the algorithm they will do the page ranking and show display your website or your sites, whatever users are searching, right? So in that case you need to use the meta tags. This is for Google purpose. Other is you can also define meta text for defining what you are doing inside that. Okay, you can simply in the description you can write the purpose of the card or if there is any dependency. Okay, so those things you can define here also if it is a closed path. right? It's not something which your public user can access. It is something which your closed or profile users access and after login. Since they need to log in, so Google also will not do the search for those URLs, right? Because we have not added anything in the robo.txt. Anyways, yeah, so make sure meta tags is something which is meant for SEO. You can also define any description related to your cards in meta tags. Next is the data source. Now, here, the one thing that you're seeing here, we only have one data source, right? Let's check all those options. Let's say you want to create a card for weather information where you need to display the weather related reports. You want to display how, when, which require refresh all the time, right? In that case, you need to go and select the streaming APIs, right? Streaming APIs are used to update itself multiple times, right? You don't need to hard refresh or refresh your page. Streaming APIs will continuously update the data and show in your card, right? So in that case, you need to define the streaming API. Let's say you are actually trying to build a search functionality which supports multiple objects. Okay. In that case, you need to define SOSL. Okay, you just need to write your SSL queries, define which fields you want to give and which name or which objects you want to link, right? You can add multiple objects here also. Okay, so this is something you can go for SOSL. SOQL is simple, right? You need to just define your query and then you can directly check. Next is sample. Let's say if you have a JSON, you just need to paste the JSON here, and based on that, your card will look like. Okay. REST API, if you want to, make a call out, you can use REST APIs, you can use name credentials, you can select web, and you can define the endpoints also, right? Methods also you can define. Any header variable you can define. Okay, so those things you can do with the REST. Parent means it is governed by parent now. Okay, I will discuss this parent option. Integration procedure, please hold. You can also define this dual nature, and you can use data raptor if you have any, and you can use apex test and remote also. Now just think about it. All the options that you is given here, can't we create one integration procedure and implement? Why I'm saying it, let's say we have selected REST APIs for doing this operation, right? We have selected REST APIs, but in future we need data raptor also. We need data from some data raptors. In that case, the card will not work because we only have a restriction where we can select one data source at this level. We can select data source in this area. The next right side also we'll discuss about it, but yeah, at initial level we have only one option, right? In that case, we in most of the cases you need to select integration procedures, because in integration procedures, if you check all the list, all those things we can do in integration procedures as well, right? So if this is the requirement, you just need to select integration procedure and name your integration procedure. Okay, in that case it will work fine. You don't need to take care about anything else. Clear? For demoing purpose, what I'm doing is I'm using data raptor because integration procedure I need to create, right? So I'm just for demoing purpose using data raptor, but best practice is you need to use integration procedure. Inside integration procedure, you need to write the queries like data raptors, right? You need to define DRs there directly, right? So here we have a let's say this I have selected account search. Let's quickly check, keep an eye on what data it is sending and how it is looking. Okay. So this section, your most left section, is basically doing this type of things where you need to define the naming, you need to define the nature, you need to define the template of overall card, right? And then you need to define the source here. What are the sources and meta text also, right? Clear? Any question? And here you can also define order by like whatever data that your data raptor or any other source returning. You need to make sure if you want to give any order by field and true false, based on that it will show. This time stamp will always be there on all backend actions. Why? Because if you want to hard stop user uh, before any particular time, you can define it, right? So those options will always be there. Now let's quickly check whatever DR is returning. So if I do execute, you will see this is the structure of our DR. Here we have a contact and then we have an account. Okay, and if I go to the extract, we need to give account ID, right? Preview. Yeah, so this is how it is showing. We have contact information and we have account. So in that particular account, we have 3 contacts. Okay, so yeah, let's go back and see how our uh, how we actually bind this data raptor here. So see, in our data raptor, we have a dynamic value which is account ID, right? So let's check how we can configure this. You need to click on the mapping, and here you need to define the name, whatever your data raptor is saying. Now at this level, where we in most of the time whenever you work on DRs or OS, we need to write this percentage, right? Inside that we need to define the dynamic values, but here the syntax is different. We need to use double curly brackets. There is a concept of params here. Params basically access some basic informations like ID, record IDs, like those things you can directly access in param attribute. Remember in LWC and in Aura, we have something called record ID, right? And this record ID variable is always there. We don't need to define. It will automatically get the record ID if it is used as a detailed page, right? Same goes here also. You don't need to define any variable. There is a params, right? And here you need to type dot id. Okay, so this you need to give. Any questions on it? Basically, params is a defined keyword which you don't need to add anywhere. It will automatically take care about the IDs. Okay, the same ID we are passing to account ID, which is a this account query. Okay, and then you just need to click on this view data. Okay, since it is not returning, that means the tagging is not done correctly. Let's check what is the problem here. So we have used this information. We have used canvas here. We have selected the data raptor. There's account query. The name is account ID, and then it is params. Account ID double curly brackets. It's looking fine. Okay, actually we also need to give any ID here, right? We need to click here next, and then we need to define the param ID, right? Param ID we need to give, and then we need to give the name of any ID, right? Yeah. Let's say. Okay, so your data is coming at this level. So this is the first thing that you need to define. Before you go to the right side, you need to make sure the data binding that you have done is correctly working or not. Okay, next one option that I have not discussed is this result JSON path. Remember when we are in the integration procedures and remote actions, we have something where we restrict what information is sending from this system and which information we need to display. So here, if you click here, you will see we have contact and account information. Let's say we don't want contact information. Okay, in that case, we just need to go here and define account node, which is your this node. Okay. And since we have restricted this to account only, and if you click on view data, you will see only account related information is not showing. It is not actually rendering any other informations, right? So as of now, I'm just removing this option. I will show you where we actually need to use it. But again, if you are sure that you will never use contact related information in anywhere in your system, anywhere in your card, then yes, you can directly restrict at this level. But since we have to define so many things at this level, so that's why I'm just not using it. I will show you where you need to use it. Okay, any questions at this area? Okay, now let's check this option. If you click on the zones, design zones, you will see there's header, body, footer. Where these three options are coming is basically your template. Whatever we have defined in the template, it is taking from there only. Okay, so here we have defined header and body and footer. So that's why which area or which section, how the header will look like, how the body will look like, how the footer will look like is different from your template. Here actually we need to add the actual card. So you need to click on this card. Whatever you're seeing here, they are basically cards that are already got created. Okay, we can add those cards also. So that is the reusability of the system. If you have already created a card, you can directly check and use it. You will able to see it. Now let's create a new card. Again, the name and the author name will be the key area. So here we can write account info and the name of the card, which act as a title. We can write details. Okay. And then we can create add. So it create the basic UI of your card. Let's discuss all the options. Now the name and author is grayed out. That means we can't change, right? Same goes for versioning here also. This is something called filter. Filter is basically used to, if we have more data and we want to filter it to any level, we can add those filters, right? Let's say account ID is equal to something, then only view this card. Then we can do this. But at this level, we will not add filters. I will tell you where we need to add the filters. But again, they provide us an option. Let's say if you want to display this particular card for a specific industry, right? You can add this thing here also. Here you need to account industry. Let's say this account industry. You need to define account industry as a technology. In that case, this particular card will only get activated for technology. Okay, but yeah, I will show you where we need to add this. There is a better place to define the filters, but again, they provided us the option where here we can also define the filters, right? Next again is the session variable. Same, if you want to interact with your any variable with your template, then you need to define the session variable for this. Meta text, similar ways there also. Now one more interesting thing that you see here. Yes, see all those options: session variable, meta text, and data source. They have given here also, right? Why they have given data source here? Since all the data that we have basically getting already, right? We have defined data raptors here. This data raptor is doing the query and displaying the data, and the same data we can also access here as well, right? If I click on add filters, you can see all those nodes are already there. Then why they give a separate option for data source? Because let's say initial level data is different and the parent and the source data is different. Let's say here at this level we are displaying any related data which is related to contact and account, but in our actual card we want to display opportunities also. Okay, so that's why Velocity give us this option where we can fire another data raptor and take it as a new batch. Okay, so this is something we can also control. But if I talk about the best practice, they says you need to take care about data at this level only. Because if you able to get data at this level, all the data you can use in different cards. But again, if let's say like I was saying, at this level, if integration procedures is not something that you can use and you have to use, let's say, remote Apex remote, at that case, they have provided us a option where we can directly go and define any data source here also. We can tag the data source here also. Okay, so this is how it is working. But let's say if we want to drive our data from our master layout, then we don't need to select anything, no source. Okay, then it will automatically take care about the actual data part that we need to use. And one more thing, actually, let's say this account info we want to create for account only, because in our data source, if we go, okay, the JSON has account and contact information, right? And we don't want to select anything on the contact. We actually want this card only for account. At this level, we can simply go and select account here. Okay, getting it. So your your left side. Okay, this is this left, and for this is the left. So your left side will always have most restrictive settings. That means if I go in the result JSON path, and if I restricted account, then the next right section, which is this part, I can't access accounts. I can't access contacts. Okay, that's why I have not added any restrictions at this level. I have added restrictions at card level, not from the entire layout. Okay, so this is how your things work. Always your left section will always have more restrictive options, right? In terms of the data, make sure this. So let's say this is the data. Now, if you click view data, it will only show you those fields. Okay, any questions at card info level? Okay, now let's discuss about this area, which is up to this level. See, this is about the layout things, right? We need to define the uh, template, we need to tag the data source, right? And those things we need to do the configuration at this level. At this level, we need to define how our actual card gonna look like. Okay, here I have defined the detail. Here we also take the filter out the data, and if you want, you can also give the data source. This right side is actually used to design the cards. How your card is looking, how your layout is will be. This fraction will be taken care of it. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's quickly go and check the field section. Here, let's talk about these two actually. Let's say we are now designing this card, which is this personal interest, right? This card. In this card, can you tell me what's the difference in this card and this card? The difference here is in this card, we are only using buttons. There's no fields. And in this card, we are using the combination. We also have a button and we also have some fields, right? If we need to create this card, let's say, in that case, we need to check this button. What it is saying, it will not show. Let's say, let me uncheck this, and now you will see there is an option called fields, right? If I check this field option is gone. So blank card state means it will not take care about the actions only. You need to define actions. We will discuss about action from where we can add those actions. Basically, those actions will now this card basically treat it as a buttons only. Okay, so I'm just unchecking. Those actions will talk tomorrow, and in today's class we'll see how our fields we can add. So since here at this level we have restricted only display account information, so if you click the fields, you will see only account related information are there, right? So let me quickly add those fields. Name, number, address, right? Let me quickly add those. Okay, now let me add a space. Okay, those are the labels which actually visible to your card. So that's why I added this space. Okay, now let's do one thing. Now let's take a preview. Okay, so it is not displaying anything. Let me tell you why. Because see, we have added this card. Let me show you. Let me write those things and then we'll discuss about it. Let's start from the from first screen to the last screen, and then I will show you what are the steps that we have followed and what are the steps we have missed and why it is not displaying anything into the preview. Let's discuss this. First thing that we have created is the template. Okay, this template is something which is for all cards, for all layout. What this template is? This template. Let's say this is our screen. So this template will tell how we are dividing our entire layout. Okay, so this is we have created. The name of this template is this canvas 3x zone, right? So this is the name. 3x zone SLDs. The purpose of this template is to create this much, right? The next thing that we have added a data source, right? We have added a data. The name is dr. Okay, this dr is having account and contact information, right? There are total 3 contacts in our example. Okay, this is the second thing we did. Next, we create a card. This card we have created. Okay, we created a card, and in this card, we created this card only for account. Okay, and how this card will look like, okay, is taken care of this template. You're seeing this template, right? Active card active. Okay, so how your card basically look like, let me tell you. You will see this card. Let's say this is the card. So where your header will be, or where your card and where you want to put your fields, how you want to put your fields, this level of things you need to take care from this template. But now one thing why it is not showing, because this card that we have designed, we have not added this card to our layout, right? We need to first define, we want to add this card to the header, we want to add this card to the body, or we want to add this card to the footer. Okay, so that's why this card we have created, we have also added the fields like account name, phone, all right. We have added those fields, but where this actual card will be used in our main template, we have not tagged. So let's see how we can do this tagging. For that, let's say I want to add this card to the header. I just need to click on this drop down and click on this add card. Okay, and then it will show you all the cards that we have created. We have only one card that we have created, which is account info. So I'm checking this. Now I am adding it. Okay, so now you can see this card is added under the header part. Okay, let it save. Yeah, now if I go and do the preview, into a fish, the tagging of the card is done. Okay, it is again not showing anything. If this is the first step that we need to follow, we need to first check the card that we have created, we have added it into somewhere or not. The next thing that you need to check is, let's go back to the card, is now this template. See, all templates are not able to handle all type of data. Okay, this template maybe is able to handle a list, but since we don't have a list, we have a simple requirement, simple single value. So maybe this template will not be able to do. So what we need to do is, we need to use different template. Let's say I'm using this template, SLDS, active SLDS. Now check if it is showing anything. Okay, now you can see our template is rendering and it is displaying something like this only, right? So let's go back and read the points that we have discussed. First, we need to create a template for the layout, okay, which actually responsible where our header, body, and footer will lie. Next thing is, we need to create a data source, maybe a data raptor integration procedures, any other third-party callouts. All we need to take care at this level. Next thing that we need to create actual cards which we want to display to the users. Okay, this card you can also filter out which type of data you want to create, and at this level, at this level we can define multiple cards. Okay, this one card we have created, maybe one card that we want to display for the contacts. Okay, this context card maybe we want to will display something different level. Okay, this is maybe in the header part we want to add a button or anything, right? Those level of settings we can do at this template, and then this card maybe we can go and add to the body. Okay, so all the account information we will directly go and display into the header, and all the information related to the context maybe we will define into the body, right? So that is the advantage here. So let's go back. Here you can again add a card, right? It is giving us an option where we can add a card. So that card, let's quickly do. Here we need to go and we can define contacts. Okay, and add it. We'll again come to previous card and we'll show you how it is behaving. And here, the this side, I'm filtering out the context only. If I go and view the data, no context fields are only showing. Okay. And now we can simply go and add the fields of contact fields, right? Contact email, contact first name, last name, and phone. Okay. Now here we need to go to the body and add that. Okay. You will see only one is showing. Why? Because one template we already added to the header. So if it is added to the header, it will not show into the body. Okay. Now you may probably go and take a preview. If it is not showing, that means we need to again change the template of that particular card, right? You'll see our contacts are showing. Okay, that's why I was saying the default template is able to handle the list of data. That's why you will see it is showing like this: contacts, contacts, contacts. Now let's do one thing. Let's go back and into the first card that we have created account detail. Let's do some changes into it. See, let me actually duplicate this. Or yeah, let's do it only. So here you can see we have details and name. Okay, now one thing that I can do in this area, I can simply write the name. This detail is something which is hard coded. Why to display this information in this area only? Let's say we want to display contact name, contact number. These two things I want to display, and these two fields I want to remove from this box. Why I'm doing this? Because this is unnecessary, right? Unnecessary we are displaying details. This is not showing any useful information. So let's do that. Let's do this change. For that we need to change this SLDS. We need to change this to use placeholder. The moment you select placeholder, you will see a section got created for placeholders also. Okay, let me open that. And here you can define title. Inside title, you can use yeah, here you can define which name. Let's say name I want to use. Here you need to give name. Here you also need to give name. And here we let's set subtitle. In subtitle, we are going to show account number. Same account number you want to show. And since these two things we are showing at this level, so we can remove the name and number from here. Okay. Now if you do the preview, you will see account name and number are showing on the top and rest fields are displaying it. Same thing we can also do in the contacts also. Those things you can see, right? Those things we can do on the contact section also. One more thing, let's say the requirement is if the industry is technology, then we want to see those fields. But if the industry is something else, then we don't want to see state and state and address informations. Let's say this is the requirement. In that case, we need to add the conditional rendering, right? So let's see how we can do those conditional rendering. For that, first we need to click on the conditions, and here we need to select industry equals. Let me actually open a contact and see if we have any. Just a second. Let me open a account and then yeah, this is industry. Let's say this is technology we want to use. So we can add a condition equals to technology, and maybe we can change the name from active to technology. So it will be easy for us to understand. Now let's take a preview. So nothing got changed into the UI. Everything is looking fine. Now, if I let's say clone it, Let's say we want to add another rendering condition. We want to hide these two fields. So what is a quick way? You just need to click on the clone button, clone state. Okay. So what it will do, it will simply clone the state. You just need to turn. Okay. So all in one card, all the states that you are adding will display here. The stage is nothing but your conditions, hide or hide and hide type conditions, right? So here, let's say the industry we want to select is energy, let's say. If it is an energy industry, in the rendering also we need to define energy. Then we don't want to display state and address. These two things we don't want to display. Okay, now let me quickly go and save this account. I have changed this to industry type. Okay. Now if we go and click on preview, yeah, you can see 3 fields only displaying. Other fields are not displaying. Now let me go and change this to technology again. Okay, now if I go back and refresh, you will see all 5 fields are displaying here, right? So this way you can simply go and create the different rendering condition and display that entire section. Again, if a complex condition you need to add, you need to click on group, and inside this group you can use and or whatever you want to use, right? All those things you can add condition, add group, add condition. Based on that you can handle and or situations, right? So yeah, this is about the basic structure of cards, how the cards will look like and what are the states. Any questions? Guys, any question? Okay, so yeah, this is about the cards. Like I was, we can add multiple card at this level. We can also check what are the total options we want to display, or we can sort the data, right? Okay, now let's, in the tomorrow's class, let's discuss about the actions and one more concept which is called flyouts. Okay, those things we'll discuss tomorrow. One, maybe tomorrow's class I will extend for 30 minutes because I also want to cover IDX rules, right? From the Monday, for 2 classes, will 2 or 3 classes, we will discuss about the entire development. Okay, how we will do the coding, what are the LWC, how we can change the UI, and what are those templates, right? How the templates gonna look like, and how basically you write this code, and who will help you in writing this code. Okay, those type of things we will discuss from Monday. So tomorrow's class will be 1.3 hours. Maybe we'll start from 8 or 8:30 to 10. All right, thanks for joining. I have already shared the access. I hope they guys also triggered an email. I didn't get any confirmation, but I will confirm if you get the access or not. But yeah, this is the org which we will use, since the old org is only having 4 days left. So tomorrow we will see how we can migrate those data that we have created to a new org, which is this, right? Because the migration is also important. We will use IDX to do this, right? That's why the 30 minutes we will extend, and for other 1 hour we'll discuss about flyouts. All right, thanks for joining.